Welcome to Haunt Topic Radio, the podcast for haunters by haunters. These are our scary visions.
Welcome back, haunters, to another episode of Haunt Topic Radio. Do you like spooky music? Are you looking for some dark and ambient and musical tunes to play in your haunt, your home haunt, your haunted attraction? Well, look no further. Midnight Syndicate is here to rescue you. In this episode, we get Midnight Syndicate on, Ed and Gavin, the creators, to talk about how they came up with Midnight Syndicate, the roots of Midnight Syndicate, the songs and themes from Midnight Syndicate, and some ideas that you can use inside your haunt. Ways to make music, the feelings that you want to convey to your customers, why haunts need background music. It's a very important thing to have sounds and music in your haunts. So stick around and let's listen to that. We'll also play the first 3 tracks from Midnight Syndicate's new CD, Darkened Corners. Please go support these guys. Go buy some of their music, midnightsyndicate.com. Me and Daryl want to wish you a happy October, happy Halloween. Haunts are in full swing now. Go out and support your local haunted attractions. If you work at one, be safe, have fun. If you don't work at one, make sure you take advantage of all the October events around the area. Go out and get you some October. Well, let's roll into it. Our chat with Midnight Syndicate.
Mr. Midnight Theme, Midnight Syndicate.
So guys, on Facebook, tonight we're talking to Midnight Syndicate. Yes, that Midnight Syndicate. So if you are a fan of gothic, dark, and horror music or haunted house music, Midnight Syndicate were kind of started that whole movement back in the 90s. So they have many CDs out. Just Google Midnight Syndicate. You'll see all their information. I got some stuff, some notes that I took. Starting to research these guys, I was like, man, they did a lot of stuff. So video games, I forgot how many CDs they have out. We'll talk about all that in a little bit. So Ed and Gavin, thanks for being on tonight. Daryl's in the background. He'll be monitoring questions. Guys on Facebook, if you have any questions, leave those in as a comment under the video. And if you're on our Zoom link, if you're a member of the Haunter's Toolbox, you got a Zoom link. Join us in Zoom, and we'll answer those questions first. So tonight, Ed and Gavin from Midnight Syndicate. So I'm sure everybody by now knows who you are, but there may be some people out there that don't know who you are. So what is Midnight Syndicate?
All right. So Midnight Syndicate essentially is a band that creates soundtracks to imaginary films through the use of instrumental music, mostly instrumental music, and sound effects, the blending of those two things. That's the core of what Midnight Syndicate does. Now, Gavin and I love fantasy, but horror is like really what we absolutely love and where we really intersect. And so very quickly we moved into the horror direction, almost exclusively, and really found that's what we love to do. So we have most of our albums are horror themed as we go through the different types of themes, anything from like a haunted, from the vampires and the classic Universal things to ghosts, the paranormal are huge. It's huge influence for us. I don't know, the carnival. There's so many horror themes we still have yet to explore, but each one takes you and brings you into this world that we've created, where you can then like just close your eyes, listen to the music, and allow the music to take you into this world of your own creation. From a practical standpoint, it's really good background music for haunted houses, and we kind of knew that going into it. And so we've always kept professional haunted houses and people that want to set an atmosphere in mind when we create these albums. And that's, where we found a lot of our audience, people that are looking to set the atmosphere for their haunted houses or their parties or their gaming sessions. Anytime people are looking to set the atmosphere, that's where our albums and this music that we've created can be used, because it's instrumental, and that means it can be interpreted in different ways. And I think that's where we've hopefully sparked a lot of other fellow artists to use our music as background while they create. So that's the basic concept.
That's perfect, because I like what you said. The imagination. What was the first quote you said? The imagine
soundtracks for the imagination.
Soundtracks for the imagination.
Yeah. Soundtracks to imaginary films. Think of that, but we don't just use it with music. We also use sound effects, as I'm sure everybody in the haunt industry knows. Sound can be a super strong element, and when blended with music, you just take it to the next level. You just bring the listener, the guest, whatever, into your world further when you blend those two together. So that's the core. That was the core of what when we started off doing this. That's what it was.
And what year did you guys get together? How did it all transpire? Did y'all get together and decide this was a good idea, or what?
Yeah, and I feel bad because I'm taking all these early questions.
No, that's cool.
We'll get both of y'all's point of view.
Well, and this is how it usually goes, because but then Gavin can talk how he got involved. But so I'd say it started in 95, 94. My first project out of college was a film called The Dead Matter that I made. And what I really loved from doing it was the sound design I directed it and everything, but what I really loved was scoring it and doing the sound design for it. So quickly after that movie was released, I decided to focus on music and Midnight Syndicate. And I put out an album that was more of a solo project. Still the sole idea of the soundtracks to imaginary films, but it wasn't exclusively orchestral, and it wasn't exclusively horror. It was mostly horror, because that's what I always love. But put that out, and actually that's when Gavin and I had met. He had helped me set up my studio for making music for the Dead Matter, the original Dead Matter score, and then also was an advisor on that first Midnight Syndicate album. And I think with that first album, what I learned is maybe I was trying to please too many people, and it would do a little bit of something for everybody, because my musical tastes, they do vary. So I think by trying to go too broad, I didn't really hit anybody. It was too broad. it was too eclectic. So I was like, well, no, let's focus on what I do best and what I love, which is horror and the orchestral instrumental music. That's really where I'm most happy. And it really lends itself well to the sound effects. So I said, that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go all horror. And I'm also not going to be a solo project. I'm not going to do everything on my own. And I said, I need a writing partner. I need somebody to come in who, as an equal, to write half of the music and to bounce ideas off of and work together. I never wanted to do something on my own again. That's when I reached out to Gavin. Gavin, I'll let you. You could, I mean, I just rambled there, but
No, I actually was working in a retail music store back when I met Ed. He came in, like you said, as a customer. I helped him set up his studio and everything. And just through talking, he, we got on the subject of Midnight Syndicate, and he gave me a copy of that first demo tape. And I was one of the mix engineers or mix reviewers. I've always been drawn to the more technical side of things and stuff. So I was giving him ideas on balancing levels, and then just generally how do the songs sound? Do they work together as a whole on the album and everything? And then I went to see that he did a multimedia show in support of that in downtown Cleveland. And I went to see that, and I saw a lot of common ground with the horror elements, with that. And I said, hey, if you ever want to work together, if I can help with this or whatever, that would be really cool. And I think it was like 2 months later that I got the call from him about Born of the Night, the idea for that. And he's like, hey, would you be interested in signing on for this? And I'm like, heck yeah. There wasn't really anything out there like it at the time. I mean, you basically had the Monster Mash compilation kind of songs, and then you had the classic, Sounds of the Haunted House kind of albums and tapes and whatever.
Or
But there
the
wasn't
Halloween
anything.
soundtrack, or
Yeah,
stuff like that. Horror
yeah, and
movie
soundtracks.
soundtracks, or
Yeah, you
yeah.
could pull soundtracks and stuff, but beyond that, if you didn't want something from a specific movie, there wasn't much to pull from basically, just to set a mood. So that's what I was the most interested in. It was like, hey, this is something I'd love to be a part of, and see that, hey, we created this kind of first ambient soundtrack sort of thing for a non-movie, so.
Well, let's pull up a song.
oh, look at this.
Uh-oh.
So this is what's a good song to sample out of your new?
Oh, off of the new one.
Yeah.
I guess Unrest. What do you think, Gavin? Mr. Midnight Theme is an
Yeah,
interesting one because that's actually one that Gavin and I wrote together most of the
yeah,
time. We
yeah. Go
write
with the
separately.
first one. Yeah.
Yep.
Right after this commercial.
Yeah.
So what was the inspiration for this Darkened Corners album?
Well, so that's a little different. The Darkened Corners is a collection of rarities. Over this, we're almost into 30 years now. And over this time period, we have taken on different projects that aren't necessarily studio albums. And some of this music has just been sitting around, in some cases, as long as 20 years. And it's never been released fully digitally so that everybody can just stream it and listen to it. This includes some music from our live shows, some music that we did for Cedar Point Hollow Weekends, some music that Gavin did for Universal for Halloween Horror Nights, some remixes, and some music that I did when I was we got asked to score some films, and those films never quite got completed. They're in different stages. Some of them may never get made. Some of them might still. And I'd done some temp scores for them, and I just felt now's a good time to share those things, these little projects, and that's that Crack John St. John Smith tracks that you see on there. But so it's just a collection of rarities. You know what I mean? We were supposed to have a new album out this year, and we were all set. We were all ready to rock and roll. The artwork is actually done for the next album. We were that far along on it. When at Transworld this year, Universal came up to us and asked us if we would score Universal Horror Unleashed. That's the new year-round haunt that they have in Las Vegas. And Gavin and I are like, absolutely. We have we've been working with them for almost 28 years now. And since 99. So I don't know whether that's 27, whatever. But so We're like, absolutely. So what that meant is we had to put our new album on hold. It's going to come out in 2026 now, but we really wanted to have something out for this Halloween. So this all just kind of came together. Like we have this music. I mean, get Carnival of Carnage and some of the stuff that Gavin did for Halloween Horror Nights is like so cool. Like, and it's really hard to get. So it's like, let's get it. People have been asking for it for years. Let's put it out there and share it with everybody. So that's the whole idea behind Darkened Corners.
I think Scarlet badges are one of the smartest things I've seen in the industry in a really long time. Scarlet badges are basically either pins or embroidered patches, kind of like merit badges, as they are, somewhat named after, from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and Brownies, and where after you've accomplished something, you can wear the brag tag of the embroidered patch. Some haunts put them on jackets, some put them on t-shirts, some put them on with the pins. I've seen them put them on lanyards. But the neat thing about them is they are very specific in what they are rewarding, and they're haunt-based images that reflect what's being rewarded. It's retention, it is bringing people back, and it's actually giving your haunters, your haunt performers, the ability to share that they are haunt performers. And, oh really, you're a scare actor. Where do you do that? And then they will insert the name of your haunt right there. So it's also marketing. I've always been a big fan of Scarlet badges. I think they're great. So check them out, scarletbadges.com. No, that is not a paid advertisement. That is just my recommendation. I think it's really cool.
ScottSwinson.com.
I got a chance to remix those tracks too, and update, just with some new equipment, new technology and stuff. I think there's big improvements from the original form that they were in. Just sonically, I think they sound a lot better, a lot more even and stuff.
Yeah, they do sound really cool. Well, they were like.
Do you guys hear that?
No, that doesn't maybe mean anything. I don't know if I'm like all plugged in right.
Okay, we're gonna try this again. So, I know a big question Haunted Attractions asked me is, can we use your music in our haunts?
Yes, you can. Yeah. So this is back in 90. All right. So we hit the scene in 98. The Born of the Night was more of a regional release that first year. But that first year, all the haunted houses were like, wow, this is really something cool. And really tapped into it and used it. And same with the amusement parks in our area, which at that time were Geauga Lake and Cedar Point. And so we knew we were onto something right away. And we knew that we wanted to take it to the next level. We wanted to go national with what we were doing. And so Gavin and I went to Transworld in 99 together and just set up speakers with Born of the Night and just started playing it. And it was really kind of one of those magical, cool, awesome moments where, it was weird because we were way in the back of Transworld, probably the farthest back you could possibly be. Were we the last booth? Was there one more to the right of us?
I think it was in the last aisle, at least.
Last aisle, there was one booth to the right of us. But what it happened to be is they were doing the haunt seminars back there. So all the haunted houses had to walk by our booth on their way to the haunt seminars. And you just never forget the reactions to everybody as they walked by and heard the music and stopped and were like, oh my God, what is this? And so that included not only like haunted houses, but it also included all the stores that sell Halloween stuff and all the amusement parks that were there. And so that really just kind of, brought us onto the national scene, and we kind of grew from there. Now, early on, it was for haunts. So it was just an early time in the haunted house industry. But as the haunted house industry grew, and we're talking in the late 90s, they started drawing some more attention from the performance rights organizations, BMI and ASCAP, because these haunted houses were getting bigger and bigger and making more money. And so they were just getting on the radar as from these performance rights organizations. But at the same time, you still had these haunts that were JCs, and they were like charity haunts, and we weren't to the point where we were right now. And a lot of them were small businesses that were just starting out. And Gavin and I know how hard it is to get a business off the ground. That's a whole nother question, thing we can go on forever with. But so we wanted to help out like these haunts, because performance rights were really coming down, and they said, hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a haunted house registry, and we're gonna do this. Like, you register with us, and we will officially say you have permission to use our music in your haunt however you want. And if you want to use it on a commercial, just come and ask us, and we'll if you want to even use it on that, we'll do it. It's cool. What we're going to ask in exchange is that we're going to send you a poster come Halloween time that says this haunted house features the music of Midnight Syndicate, and you hang it out by your ticket booth, and we all win. And it's like us helping each other, and it's like this synergy and this wonderfulness. So we started the Midnight Syndicate Haunted Attraction Registry, and I think our first year for that was, I think 2000, maybe. I think
25 years
2000 was
ago.
the first year for that. And so, and it runs to this day. So if you go to the Midnight Syndicate website and you look under the haunted attractions and escape rooms, we added that there, tab, you'll see a place where you can register your haunted house to use our music. We haven't done the posters for a few years just because of the cost, but we are actually going to be bringing it back soon, and doing the posters again. Again, it just kind of helps us out with the exposure, and so it's cool.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That as exposure, do you think it helped you out when it first started? When you started using the posters a lot, that fans saw the music and bought the music, and
I'd like to think. What do you think, Gavin?
Yeah, they could tie, like, they may not have known what they were hearing, but then you see the poster there, and it's like, okay, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in those days, like, we didn't have digital.
Didn't have cell phones. You could just Google it real quick.
Yeah, right.
Nope. It was like, it was
take a picture of
available.
it.
Music was available on CDs, and that's how you got it. So if you wanted to get music, you had to go. I mean, how crazy is it? I feel so old. Well, we did release the first album on cassette. So, I mean, like, now I really feel,
Hey, cassettes came back though. That's
At least you were on
cassettes are coming back.
They are coming back. My 17
Brad Loftus says he's got one of your cassettes that he used years ago when he was a kid. So
I
it's been
love
around
it.
for a while.
He's making me feel very old, but that's fantastic. I love that. I love that. But anyway, you had to get it on CD, and so Spencer Gifts, Hot Topic, Spirit, then eventually, and all these costume stores. That's where we set up our own distribution network, and that's where people had to go to get this music back then. So I do think that seeing those posters, maybe then when they went to their Spirit or their Spencer's, and the store, and the CDs used to be right up near the counter as a little impulse item, maybe they were like, I remember seeing that at my local haunt, I'm going to pick that up. So
Right.
I feel like it did always feed.
Yeah.
And it was good because we wanted to help out the haunts. We were in this together, right? We're all artists just trying to make it. And so it felt right to us always to try and do whatever we can to help the haunt industry. And
That's a good thing you guys do.
oh, thanks.
Let me now we can maybe talk over this. I'm gonna try to adjust the volume and see.
Oh,
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Mr. Midnight Theme.
Yes. Yeah, this was the theme to accompany the character that Cedar Point developed. It was Michael Roddy, in fact, did this. That became like their icon. Basically, they wanted to have like an icon at the park, and this was his big like introductory theme and everything.
I love the artwork too on the album, on the CD.
Thanks.
Pascal Castellari.
Yeah.
And one question we had was, what types of instruments do you guys like using while what kind of instruments are we hearing in this?
Oh man.
A lot.
Of things.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. It's a mix of, we always try and use live stuff whenever we can, but it's a lot
Piano.
of just like samplers and different, some synthesizers. Of course, the sound effects, that's always been a fun aspect of what we do, is doing our own sound effects. Lots of great memories of cracking boards out in my barn garage and breaking glass, and probably the neighbors are like, what are you doing there?
I remember running. We were trying to do some sound effects of some boards cracking, and I remember running like a big long cable into the. I mean,
I had like I think it was like a 50 or 100 foot mic cable. I ran from my garage up into the window. I had this, like we put the studio temporarily in the back of my house. It was running through the window, like just to capture the sound out there,
Technology has changed so much. And I think when I look back on it, I think that perhaps part of the reason that we didn't see what we were doing back in the 90s as much was a lot because the technology was not out there at that point in time. Like we were trying to create these orchestral, movie score type stuff with a big, nice sound. And the technology, unless you actually like hired an orchestra, it was hard to get that. Now you could do stuff, but it was extremely synthy. Like you can go with like super synth pads, but trying to recreate the sound of an orchestra was very difficult to do back then.
Yeah, even like pianos, we were coming off of an era where pianos were just starting to get to that point where they sounded like a piano instead of like a synthesizer emulating a piano. So yeah, you just had to get real creative with things and like do a lot of editing and combining of sounds and just, I don't know, we spent a lot of time on the sound design,
Oh God. We were talking about Born of the Night. It was Gavin and me and our engineer, Tim Blue, good old Tim Blue, he's awesome. Sitting in that studio for just countless hours, like tweaking things and running things and like really manual, like running songs and manually like adjusting the faders, on like turning knobs like as they were
before automation. Yeah, literally, if you had to recreate a mix, you couldn't save it and call it up as like a snapshot, which you can easily do. You can save it right in your computer, but back then it was all knobs. I mean, we got to reset for this mix. Okay, that was at 9 o'clock. This one's at 2 o'clock.
Oh, I think those kind of help make you the composer that you are today when you go through that. I mean, I'm glad that we went through that. It was a cool experience.
Do you know what causes haunted attractions to shut down before they even get started? The top 3 roadblocks are lack of funding, lack of leadership, lack of resources. As a member of the Haunters Toolbox, you get instant access to the tools you need to start and grow your own haunted attraction business. To get started, become a member at haunterstoolbox.com.
It does mean that I have a ton of expensive equipment sitting in here that's completely obsolete. That somebody else will like emulate for like $200. Like right.
What is some of your favorite equipment though?
Oh man, gosh,
that's a good question. I went through so many mixing boards like over the years and those first few years. It seemed like every couple of weeks I'd be bringing back a new mixing board. I don't know if that was frustrating.
Oh, the O3D and the O2R and stuff like that. When first we were able to call up our mixes and like, you know what I mean? And now the Zoom, which is a great tool for the Zoom 4N recorder is, I think, one of the greatest innovations in the I mean, you could be using this right now as your microphone for this podcast.
And they're fairly inexpensive as well. They're only a few $100, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't even understand how they're able to do it. It is like absolutely mind-boggling how great the quality is on that. And that's absolutely taken over as the default sound effects recorder for me when I'm going out and recording, because it's amazing what it's able to pick up. Then you take it into the studio and just work a little bit of magic on it, and you can get some amazing things. There you go.
Nice.
I'm telling you, that's my favorite.
The old H2 right there.
Yeah, that's the one I have, the H2.
Yeah.
I used to have a video recorder too from Zoom, and their stuff was always like silly good for the price. It's like, amazing. I mean, I'm not going to say it was high-endy, but it was amazing for what you paid for it.
I love taking it to trade shows. I can take it to trade shows and have it right there by my mouth, and you can't hear much around me. It's directional, so it's.
Now, one of the other questions that Joseph had is, have you ever used family members for any of the audio, sound effects, or voices?
Well, funny.
Oh my gosh! What a great question. We have. All the years we have been doing interviews, have we ever been asked that, Gavin?
Nope, not once. I don't believe.
No, Joe, good
for the win.
Never been asked
question?
That
was Joseph C. Smith.
Okay.
Well, Joseph, well done, because we have never been asked that before. So here we actually have. I think it started. Well, I used I used my sister on Druids, which is on that first Midnight Syndicate album, which is also on Out of the Darkness. So people that want to hear that, can listen. But Druids, our song Druids features my sister. That was probably the first time. But then, my kids grew up when we first started Midnight Syndicate. I didn't have kids. Like when Gavin and I started working together, Gavin and I have gone through now my kids are in college and one's graduated college. So, so part of this whole thing, right around 13th hour, my daughter, Mary Kate, I was like, kids are creepy, right? And little kids are especially creepy. So I got my kid and Mary Kate and recorded her doing a bunch of stuff, and you hear her all throughout 13th hour. And she would return along with my other daughter, Sarah, on Carnival Arcane. We used that along with some other voiceover actors. Voiceover actors. Dennis Carter Jr. was amazing, and Jason Carter, the Babylon 5 guy we worked with on the Dead Matter. But then a lot of my friends came on and did some of those other clown voices there. So yeah, I think over the years we've used a lot of family members, and then when we did the live shows, Mary Kate and Sarah both got involved in those live shows. We got them in the Sarah was one of the primary ghosts, Alice, in that. So it's nice being able to. I mean, I'm sure every haunter, that has a family that has their kids show a little bit of interest in what they're doing. I mean, that's the best when you can get them involved.
Rope them into it.
What's that?
You rope them into it, and then they realize, first they think, okay, Dad's a little strange, but I'll do it because he wants me to. And then they realize that, look, we've sold, how many millions of albums have you guys sold?
Well, we're getting to million. We're getting to million now. But we did it without any kind of label, and we did it all distribution ourselves. So I mean, I think that's my thing. But yes,
that is pretty damn incredible.
It's
slinging CDs.
Yeah.
It's really been fun coming to Transworld over the years. I mean, I've seen all those kids, all those parents the haunters that were bringing their kids and introducing them to us over the years are now the ones. Some of them were like, "Yep, I'm turning over the keys to the kids." You know what I mean? I'm like taking it back. We saw that a lot in the costume shops and stuff like that. The next generation coming up, and we see it in the haunted houses too now. The kids coming up, and they're the next generation. They're gonna carry it on and take it to the next level if they can, and it's really cool. But I think I've been more aware of that in the last 5 or 6 years, as these kids that were barely able to get onto the show floor are now sitting there with their notepads and everything, making all the big decisions and purchases and stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
Do you guys use your own voices at all?
We do actually. We have. Boy, I'm trying to think of where you'll hear us. Dungeons and Dragons was one of them. You probably hear us pop up on a number of recordings though. Usually very much in disguise though. Hopefully you'll never know that it's us. We try and do character voices and stuff, which is always fun. That's good stuff.
Definitely. And Gavin, you do some good vocals. Gavin's sung on several albums. He's part of those vocal things, which he's a very good singer. So, a lot of times it's disguised, or it's you can't really tell exactly what it is, but
yeah,
it's hard to find an album that I haven't done some sort of
joy of effects.
What's it?
The joy of effects.
Yep. Yes. Yep. It's I'm just gonna do this myself, and then you're like, yep. So over the years I've gotten better, I'd like to think, but yeah, no, I think every album there's something, you hear me in some way, shape, or form back there.
I'm still surprised that Cedar Point signed off on the. We brought in a very special guest for the intro for one of our shows. We had Liam Neeson, but not Liam Neeson. Lead into the show, and that was a fun time.
Yes,
well,
Gavin's got a sense of humor.
Norm has mentioned that they've seen all your shows at Cedar Point and are absolutely amazing. Just wanted to thank you for the memories. A lot of people still talk about them. You guys are missed.
We miss being there. Good times. Love playing those gigs.
Oh, being at Cedar Point. I mean, we grew up at Cedar Point. We love the park. They were one of the first amusement parks to use our music, right off that bat in '98. And and so we have like a long history with them, and yeah, just getting to be out there and be part of that event. But most importantly, having a show that people liked. That it was definitely one of the most rewarding moments in this journey. I think Gavin would agree with that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
live
no, it was always like, it was a great creative challenge because we designed the show every year. So it was, you're bringing different ideas and like pushing the envelope on what you can do within the theater and what haven't we done yet, like in general and stuff. And that was, I mean, for me at least, that was always a huge highlight, just seeing the show kind of come to life and these ideas kind of play out and people reacting to things and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool the way it came about. Like as we noticed, as our main thing was CDs, like, but then CDs slowly went away.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew we were going to have to start developing some sort of live show, and so we actually put together a Kickstarter. Say, hey, Midnight Syndicate's doing a live show. We're going to put it together, be part of it, and we ran the whole Kickstarter, and it was like about a week or two into the Kickstarter, maybe longer. That Cedar Point reached out to us and said, hey, I see you're doing this Kickstarter. What about instead of running the Kickstarter, we just hire you. You do the show here at Cedar Point. We'll work together, and then we'll pay you to perform it. We were just like, yeah, that's awesome. You know what I mean? So it was really wonderful. And but even then, it was a real challenge because just Midnight Syndicate is like two people on keyboards. You know what I mean? At its at its core, for a live show, you have to really do something compelling, I think. And it's not easy. It just can't be two guys up there playing keyboards. So developing a show that's compelling for people is not tricky, but it is. Now, fortunately, as Gavin had mentioned earlier, when I had that first self-titled Midnight Syndicate album out, I put together a live show to promote it in downtown Cleveland, and it was a mixture of live action and film, and just like this real immersive theater and this big black box theater that we rented out. And so doing that, I actually and there was these films that were playing that we would score live. So like a lot of elements, that I learned a lot by doing those shows, that I was then able to take to Cedar Point and say, hey, this is what we'd like to try and do. We want to have, maybe create this immersive environment with video and stuff like that, and sound and stuff, to sound design and stuff. And but still, when you put all this together, you don't know how people are going to react to it, if they're going to like it or not. And that was one of the greatest weekends of my life, was like probably after that, the second night, and the place was packed, and it was like a big IMAX theater, so it could seat like 1,000 people. So I mean, Midnight Syndicate hadn't played in front of anybody before, let alone like close to 1,000 people. So and then even when you do that, you don't know what people are going to react, but at the end, the response was amazing, and like clapping and everybody coming out afterwards and meeting us, and that was one of the greatest moments.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges.
We always were looking for ideas to get those actors to take it to the next level. I really want to do something that they can use more than just a meal, or they can use more than just a that a boy, that a girl. They love this stuff, but it's not really promoting a haunter. And then I sit down, Scarlet Badges comes out. That's when I realized this is amazing, because not only is it giving them an attaboy, but it's also promoting them all year round. And to promote somebody, to give somebody accolades all year round and have them be able to wear it on their shoulder with pride means a lot. This right here says this is who nailed it on this day in this year for the rest of their life, for the rest of their haunting life. And that's what I really love about this product, is you're able to give haunting to somebody an attaboy 365 days a year. And so hats off to you guys. I think this is a great product, and I wish you the best of luck, because it's awesome.
Get your Scare Badges at scarebadges.com. Crackjaw, Midnight Syndicate.
And so, yeah, it's been a huge part. We did that from 2014. They tore down the theater. Then we came back to a different theater, and we did it from 2017 all the way to 2022. We even got on the big stage. We mixed it up a little bit, through that time period, but almost 10 years of doing shows is yeah, there we go. There we go. You can see Andy did a great job, but this gives you a little idea of what we do. But like from the first year. Yeah, but anyway, it's a good run, and you never know. We have a great relationship with Cedar Point, so the idea that we could come back is always on the table. So we'll just see.
Well, so you've had actors on stage acting things out. You've had Liam Neeson, at least maybe not in person,
in spirit.
In spirit. But is there anybody else that you guys would love to collaborate with?
Oh man.
Wow. In what respect? Like as far as like a live show, or like just anything?
How do you want to collaborate with them?
Oh,
do you want to have
gosh, Gavin,
do you want to have Johnny Depp voice one of your things because Vincent Price is no longer around, or do you want to play with somebody? Do you want to Trent Reznor? Right?
It's a great.
Heck yeah! Huge Nails fan here. That'd be cool. Man, yeah, I mean, it's probably
it's another good question. We've never been asked this either, Gavin.
It is. Yeah,
that's two questions.
And the funny thing is, I'll bet that people that you wouldn't think would be great fits for certain roles would be. Like, if somebody volunteered to work with us that we might not have thought of, I just have a feeling that it might work out in ways that we wouldn't have expected,
Yeah. Boy, yeah, exactly. I wish I could come up with some really wing zingers. Like King Diamond is a heavy metal artist, and he's a big influence of ours. And I remember one of my favorite stories is that Gavin and I went to go see him on tour in 2001, and we were waiting for him to go on, and the music they played in between the opening act and him, it was like Realm of Shadows, and then Born of the Night, and they were playing, and they just played the whole, all our stuff in between,
like song after song,
and we were like, this is so cool. We assumed that it was
that's us.
We thought it was we were in Cleveland, so we thought it was like the Agora. That's the place that we were at. We figured, they just piped us in because we're locals and stuff. But no, it turns out that that King Diamond and the guitarist Andy LaRocque were fans of what we were doing and used it for their show music for the tour that year. And talk about something that's like not only one of the cool, like awesome moments, but like it opens up the ideas, like, maybe King Diamond. Come on, Gavin. Like, what if we ever do something with him? I'm thinking that's my long way of answering a question that that's why I answer questions like roundabout. I'll eventually answer your question, but not after talking to about like that.
Maybe a long and winding road.
This kind of leads into another question from Victor. I can imagine you got the chills when you were listening to that. Somebody else, a band that you admire, and they're playing your music between the bands, right? Do you have any other tracks that still give you the chills, whether that's spooky, scary kind of chills, or it's like, damn, I made that and it's good?
Boy, that's a
think on that. So I like it's a great question. I think about it.
I mean, I don't know if I would react quite that way. I think there's tracks definitely that I'm still very proud of, or tracks that I think still work very well. And it doesn't always have to be the most elaborate tracks either. It could be something very simple, like a Haunted Nursery, where it's like literally like one instrument, but it sets the mood. It does its job really well. But then, I'm trying to think of a good example, of something that's like, I'll go back to and I'll be like, oh yeah, that I'm still like, that was for me, I feel like a high watermark as far as, just being able to push the envelope in some way. Well, the entire Gates of Delirium album, I still cite as being a huge leap forward for us from Realm of Shadows. Realm of Shadows used sound effects, but not nearly to the degree and not in the same way. I mean, they were such an integral part of the storytelling on Gates of Delirium. and we plotted that album out from start to finish. It literally ran like a movie, even though we always like to leave things up to the listener's imagination. We don't like to spell it out too specifically. That was a case of like, we had definite ideas of how the story was progressing, and we tried to convey that through sound. So that's an album I'm super proud of still.
That's
I
like
think
Monsters of Legends, right? Monsters that
Yeah.
it had a lot of sound effects on the horses and the
Yes,
chains and the.
definitely.
I really like that one.
Oh, thanks.
So
That was a big one for us. So we were excited.
go ahead.
I think a lot of times for me, I think I always find, I've always been, Gavin has the classical background, and I've learned a lot as a composer just learning from him over the years. So I'm always amazed by like some of the stuff that he's able to produce, at the sound and the fullness, and like, so I find myself like, if I'm listening to Midnight Syndicate, like, and feeling like that, like when I hear one of his tracks, some of his tracks on every once in a while, I'm like, yeah, that's right. That sounds pretty cool. So, I mean, I think that I think that I feel like that, especially I like a lot of his like larger songs and stuff where it's just like really brings me in. And those are the ones that I'll like occasionally just put onto my playlist and listen every once in a while. It doesn't feel like you're listening to your own music because it's one of the Gavin's tracks, and I'm a fan. I'm like, that sounds great. It still stands up, and I do like certain sound effects tracks. I'm still delighted by. Sea of Laughter is this nutty, like creepy, weird clown laughing track on Carnival Arcane. I still smile when I hear it. I'm like, okay.
I think I might
Like,
read
it still makes me laugh. I listen to all the layers, because I can hear it, with a little bit of stereo separation. I can hear all the different voices that I remember putting in and like stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, that kind of there's I think like that, or Last Breaths on 13th Hour if I'm wearing headphones. Um, Lily did she did such a great job. Lily Lane did such a great job on the female vocals for 13th Hour, the sound effects and stuff like that. And I think she has a moment on there that's just like that really, doesn't get me, but I'm just like, yeah, I really love the way that makes me feel still to this day. 13th Hour is like a landmark album, I think, for us, just because it has a lot of our, some of our most popular tracks, as it turns out. But then I think the sound design on it, kind of like 13th Hour, it's kind of like Gates of Delirium, but I think even more, that's it's there. It's one of those albums that I'm really proud of. And I'm glad you mentioned Monsters of Legend too, because that's like,
it kind of plays
that's
like
definitely,
it's like a short story too. It was,
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you checked out HauntersToolbox.com yet? It's free to join and full of useful information to help you start and grow your own haunted attraction business. All the information on HauntersToolbox.com is created by the pros who do it. We have a library with ebooks and presentations on topics like creating an employee handbook, starting a business plan, or the best types of lights to use at your haunt, plus a lot more. You get instant access to the library plus free video masterclasses by the experts in the haunt industry. Classes like Alan Hops from Dark Hour Haunted House teaching scare acting, or Philip Hernandez from the Haunted Attraction Network teaching marketing and social media, or Leonard Pickle from Hauntpreneurs teaching haunt design and construction. I even got a few master classes in there as well. You don't have to do it alone. Let us help you. We also host monthly live masterclasses to steer you in the right direction so you don't get lost. Once you become a member, you also get instant updates on our next masterclass in your email so you don't miss the next one. And if you need more one-on-one help, there is an option for that as well. I would be honored to help you get your attraction started or help you grow your current one. I know what it takes. Let's talk. If you're interested, you want to start and grow your haunted attraction, go check out HauntersToolbox.com. Don't be scared. I like how you break stuff down, and each album has its own little theme, and its own little story. So where do you come up with this inspiration? Is it just out of the blue one day? Hey, it would be cool if we did. Or you're watching a movie and you're like, hey, let's do an old monster movie soundtrack.
Probably all of the above, actually. I mean, I think it's a lot of different places. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, we should do this theme. Let's see what we can, how we can explore this theme in a different way. But sometimes it's like, just we'll have an idea that we've been sitting on for a while, and it's like maybe it feels like the right time to do that theme now because of what came right before it. I mean, I know that was the thing with like Vampire. We were trying to get back to classic theme, but also just focus on the songs. Really make that a song-driven album. So yeah, I think it's a lot of things though.
Yeah, there's so many themes, and that's what makes it exciting. There's so many that we have yet to tackle. But like finally getting to the carnival one, that was like, like people were asking, when are you gonna do a carnival album? Like in 2000, like right out of our first two albums, they're like, when are you doing the carnival album?
Yeah.
Finally getting to tackle that theme, like, was great. Oh, when are you gonna do a Christmas album? That's also finally getting to do that. Yeah, we talk about, I guess the album I'm most proud of is Christmas at Ghostly Gathering, I'll have to say.
Yes,
When I look back at our entire body of work and I listen to Christmas at Ghostly Gathering, I'm like, that is a Midnight Syndicate Christmas album. That is a very Midnight Syndicate Christmas album. I think that encapsulates so much what I love. So that's
on
the
the
album I'm most proud
rooftop.
of.
Yeah.
Just that and just everything that we did on that one. I
that's
absolutely
good.
love it.
There's
So
a
a lot
lot
of
of
times
range.
the fans, like, so we have this Legions of the Night fan community. Started it back in '99. Like, it was, I think there's an ad for it in our Realm of Shadows album. That's when we first had the first ad for it. But we just relaunched it like about maybe 4 years ago. How long? I'm losing. Oh, I'm getting.
I know. I have that
Maybe
problem
2 or
too.
3 years ago, we relaunched it, like, and really said, hey, we're going to do cool things for people in Legions. We're going to give you behind the scenes stuff and do little bonuses and stuff. Well, anyway, one of the things we said, okay, what album? Like last year, we're like, okay, what's the next theme of the album? Let's hear what you guys think. And we just got all these emails and everything, like, and actually the theme to the next album was directly inspired by the input of the fans. They said, so that the next year's album, Legions of the Night people and other people, and other supporters that are members that have been asking. So yep, that's coming up. So sometimes it comes from outside sources, and you just, what's it going to be? What's going to, we have other themes that we know we need to tackle at some point in time, but it's like finding the right time. And yeah, it's like right. I think we know some of the themes that we haven't hit yet.
It's like us adding a new theme to our haunt. It's like, we really need to do that scary baby doll room, for that, so it's always, I have too many ideas and not enough time to implement my ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So who are some of your inspirational composers that you like, or kind of, made you who you are?
I think Danny Elfman is definitely a mutual one. John Carpenter, certainly. Just, I don't know. I think for me, it's more like specific soundtracks even than the composer themselves, just like certain soundtracks just kind of stay with me, but yeah, I know, Ed, you have a few different ones.
Yeah, I'm like, of course, John Carpenter and Danny Elfman for sure. I think you can hear that just in, like, the kind of stuff that we write and stuff. Sometimes you can see where that comes through. But a big influence for me is heavy metal, like Black Sabbath, King Diamond, Merciful Fate. Well, just all sorts of heavy metal. Like, I really love it, and so I definitely think that's a big influence for me in Midnight Syndicate.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think it.
Yeah, you can hear all sorts of different styles in there when you guys do it.
Yeah, I think it is, and the more you listen to, the more music you listen to, I think it just makes you a better composer and a better artist. Right? I mean, the more we expose ourselves to, the better we are in whatever we're doing creatively, I think. So
yeah, once it stretches your brain, it never goes back to the same. So you can pick up a theme from somebody else and it gives you those ideas and you just go off on a complete tangent.
Yeah.
Make it your own.
Yeah, influences tend to creep in unexpected ways too. I mean, like, you'll hear something played back later, and you're like, oh, I can hear where my brain was at that point, because like I didn't do that intentionally maybe, but like there's a little traditional Irish music like kind of playing out in the background there, like that kind of thing.
Yep, I noticed the Sisters of Mercy, like a big Sisters of Mercy nod in one of my tracks. Just a little, there's a little part at the end. Like, I'm like, oh wow, yeah. Sisters of Mercy, I love. It's one of my favorites, and so. But I wouldn't think that I would name them initially as like one of my big influences, but yeah, for sure.
We all know it's Sarah McLachlan in Arms of an Angel. That's
Gavin loves it. Gary,
I was a Sarah McLachlan fan. I never liked that song. That was always my least favorite. And of course, she always did it live because that was her huge hit. And I'm like, oh, go back to the first two albums, please. Like, yeah. Well,
Good times. So where did the name Midnight Syndicate come from?
I think I wanted to. I like the image that it evoked. I think the word syndicate. I know where I got it from. There was back in the day. I love video games. I love video games. I love computer games, and I had my Apple IIc back in grade school and in high school. And back in the day, you would get games. You would trade games, and because the games have been cracked, like a pirating team had like cracked games, and that's so that you could then copy them from disc to disc and share these games.
Yeah.
And one of the pirates or one of the people was called Syndicate Whip. And so I was like, Syndicate always just stuck in my head. And then so I think when I was trying to come up with the name for a band that kind of encapsulated this, I was like, well, Midnight Syndicate. That kind of evokes an image of these people, the syndicate, this something like this clandestine group, but they're meeting at midnight. Or what is, that just was like that those two words together, that created an image. And I'm like, that's perfect because that's what the music is supposed to all do. Just create images in the listener's head.
Right. And so we can use your music in our haunts, home haunters, haunted attractions with the right hanging the poster up. You guys are going to work on that. Or just put it on your website. This haunt sponsored by, or music in this haunt might be used by Midnight Syndicate, just to get your, put a banner on their site or something.
It would be very nice. Yeah, we certainly appreciate it. As home haunters are the lifeblood of Halloween, in my opinion. Like they are the home haunters are what keeps the holiday alive. It's what creates those childhood memories. People always remember that house on the street that did that. And I think it just keeps the traditions going. Of course, professional haunted houses are a huge part of that too. But home haunters are critical, I think, for the keeping Halloween alive in neighborhoods everywhere. And so, but home haunts do not need to register with us simply because if we did, the registry would be too much. And you don't have to. If you're not charging admission for a haunt, you have nothing to worry about. You can do whatever you want. So these are the things that you don't have to worry about. I suppose if you have people walk in, you still have to worry about the fire marshal and things like that. Like my one friend, Rick Davis, Gavin, if you're doing a nice home haunt, you have people, you might have to, concern yourself with fire marshals every once in a while.
This hunt is basically the equivalent of a pro level hunt, though. It's
that's
really
amazing.
well done.
Yeah, grim manner. But yeah, you don't have to worry about it. But like professional haunts, if you're charging admission, then yeah, you should technically get a license with ASCAP and BMI for any music that you're using within there. And if you use our music, then you can, if you register with the haunt, then we're giving you permission for us to use it.
I used yours quite a bit in my home haunt. It was a carnival themed, so the laugh track you were talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's cool. I'm glad you like that.
I pieced more of the ambient ones together. It just kind of did an overlay and then had that laughing going, about every 30 seconds.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just drive around with the windows down when it's warm enough, blasting, the albums. So.
Yes. Excellent.
Thank you.
Spotify
yeah.
playlist. I have to admit, I use the Spotify playlist, but
absolutely. We've really gone. We have a Halloween horror playlist on Spotify now that we put together, and you'll see it if you go to our Spotify page. And it actually is like a collection of some of the best stuff that we've done over the last 28 years. And I'm constantly listening to it, especially like this time of the year, and just making sure that the flow is really nice. But it's really long. I think it's like 4 or 5 hours. Like some of the haunters were saying, hey, can you put together a playlist that we can just leave on in our studio when we're building our haunts? And so I was like, all right, we'll do that.
yeah, the team from Hessian Manor says they use that when they're...
I need something to play. I'm like, okay, we'll do
Mhm.
it. So I put it together, and that's that's the on our thing. It's called the mega playlist, Halloween horror mega playlist. But I'd highly recommend it for people that are just, maybe they don't know, are not familiar with us and want a nice overview of everything that we've done horror wise. It's it's cool. It's a good listen. I hope.
Of course it
Now,
is.
have you guys thought about creating any um, more ambient background sound stuff for as opposed to actual songs and tracks that
That's Now it's interesting, Gavin, right?
Yeah.
Given what we just came off of, right?
Yeah, that's I mean, I think we'll always work the ambient stuff into any release. I mean, I think that's a critical part of it, but to do something that's more just strictly ambient, maybe if the theme fit that or demanded that and stuff,
Yep. I mean,
possibly.
Universal Horror Unleashed, like think we mentioned earlier. That's exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah.
When we were composing for that, we were creating the music for the main complex. We didn't do the music for the haunts. There's 4 haunts that are associated with it, and the actual haunts use the music from the properties, like Exorcist or whatever, they're whatever,
Mhm.
movie they're tied to. But ours was the music for the entire complex. I mean, you walk in all the common areas, the gift shop, just, and there's so much going on in Universal Horror Unleashed, and I don't think it's terribly different than a lot of haunted houses. There's so much going on that the music really has to. Sometimes you need something that's very ambient, especially there because they have like performances going on too,
Yeah.
and so they needed something that could, create an atmosphere without detracting or stealing too much of the
Mhm.
attention of people. I mean, just has to work to elevate the other elements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What I mean is what we just did for Universal Horror Unleashed was very much ambient. Like probably it's still a little melodic though, Gavin. You can still tell it's us, I think, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
pretty ambient.
yeah, that's definitely what they wanted for it. Like they didn't want the music to compete with anything. It's more just to enhance
It's
those
mood
specific
setting.
parts of the venue. But yeah, I mean, we always try to work in as much melody as possible, but that was an interesting challenge too, just writing like that, just trying to make sure that we captured the nature of those areas and stuff, without like overdoing it and stuff.
Are they selling the CD of their music?
Well, it's so not yet, but I would think that it's got to be on their radar because um one of the cool projects that we got involved with, maybe back in 2020, maybe back in 2020. Like I don't know. 2020, I say that's like in 2020,
It was a
it was their
blur.
30th anniversary, Halloween Horror Nights 30th anniversary, and they've been using our music since 99. So they said, hey, why don't we do like an album to memorialize this partnership we've had over the years? And so we went through and found a lot of the music that they've used a lot over the time period, and then added some production audio from stuff that they had done for the websites. And we did these albums, Halloween Horror Nights, the music of Halloween Horror Nights, and we put them out on vinyl, and they sold like hotcakes. They like one sold out within like 48 hours, and then they did 2 more pressings of it, and they were very successful. So then I was very happy to see that they released Danny Elfman's score to Epic Universe on vinyl as well. And now they released Slash has done music for Universal or Hollywood, and they put that on vinyl. So, I mean, I like the company that we're in there with between Slash and Danny Elfman, like for Universal soundtracks released. And I'd like to think that, yeah, maybe if there's enough demand or people are asking for it, they'll put it out.
So that
Well,
brings me to another quick question. Vinyl, CD, or lossless digital like FLAC?
Mm.
I am not the album guy myself. I couldn't get rid of mine fast enough when CDs came out and stuff. But now CDs have kind of come and gone and stuff. Personally, I stream everything, whether it's YouTube or whatever. I find I listen to a lot of music just while I'm working and stuff. So whether it's on my phone or on the computer, it's just a convenience thing. Like wherever I am, the music can be, and I listen to it a lot. So. That's kind of what I fell into. But I was a CD guy for a long time, with all the extra tracks. You got the bonus tracks and everything and expanded editions.
The quality of CD, the quality of lossless, like FLAC and stuff like that. I love that because you can really hear, like when I listen to our stuff in that format, I can hear all the sound effects. I can hear every little thing that we put into it, every bit of reverb. You're like, yes, this is it. Then you realize how few people are listening to it like that, and you're like,
I know.
people are
That's
just listening to
sad.
it on their phone, and you're like, so that's fine. It's fine, but that's like that's how things have gone. You know what I mean? But they used to, but even with the Walkman, you still had headphones, which I think still gave you the headphones still gave you a bit better quality, because you actually could still hear the stereo separation and stuff. But I'll say I did get back into vinyl like in I don't know, probably around 2013, 12, before we did a pressing of Monsters of Legend on vinyl. And that was when vinyl was just starting to come back. And yeah, I liked it. I got my dad's old speakers, these speakers that I listened to my very first music on as a kid. I got those speakers. I got them down here in the dungeon, and I got a record player, and a U-turn, and I got all those records out, and I love it. They don't sound, yeah, you get some as you get towards the end of an album side, you start getting more distortion and stuff like that. But one of the things it does is it makes you listen to the entire album, because you're not going to get up and like switch the songs. So by getting back into vinyl, it's forced me to listen to whole album sides again, and I've rediscovered songs that I had forgotten about, or just listen to whole albums. I never listened to the whole album. It's entirely, I mean, like I found my favorite songs, and those are the ones I listened to. And now I'm listening to the whole album. I'm like, oh, I missed these tracks all those years ago. So that is the advantage to there. And there's something just cool to getting up and cleaning off the record and putting it up there. It's kind of zen. I don't know. I know Gavin's like, whatever. No, but sit down with a good,
Very different pages
beer,
on that one.
Sit down with a good beer or scotch and just like pop it on and listen into it. I that's one of my hobbies. One of the things I like to do.
Nostalgic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we say for beginners wanting to get started in creating their own music, what are a few tools that you recommend just to kind of get your feet wet?
Man, I feel like I'm so out of touch with that world because I used to work in music retail. I was, always seeing new products coming in and stuff, and like, what they were doing with advances. But I feel very removed from that right now.
Yeah.
I know. I feel bad because like what tools do you say? What is that one? What's that, Garage Band?
Yeah, a lot of people use what's Ableton's that's a big
Ableton. Yeah. I think Ableton seems to be like something that a lot of like,
I think it depends on your compositional style, like how you write and stuff too, because like one tool may work well for somebody, but not for somebody else, depending on how you put songs together. Like if you want to work in patterns, or if you want to just free write stuff, there's better and not so great for each of those things, and it's just like a personal thing, And same with the sounds. I mean, the sounds are like whatever you're drawn to.
It is. It's important you create your own sound. You find those sounds that speak to you as an artist and use those, to create your own unique identity. Yeah, I'm really out of touch with the new equipment. I still use Cakewalk. I've used Cakewalk since 1993, or a variation of 90. I mean, since that's how long. And they just upgraded. It became Sonar. And then it was Cakewalk again. Now it's Sonar again as of like a few months ago. I know it's crazy, but like, that's what I'm using. That's just something where you have your equipment, you lay out your tracks and stuff like that. Pro Tools is obviously the one that, but I've never used Pro Tools before.
There's also a big price point for Pro Tools that
Yeah.
some people are not. Ableton's under a couple of hundred, I believe. I use a DAW called Reaper, a digital audio workstation called Reaper. That's $60, and
Gotta love it.
it matches the big boys. There's other stuff out there. Something I got a chance to play around with over the last year as well is a lot of people use modular synths out on their tours, And there's a digital version called VCV Rack that is free. If you want to start playing around with synthesis, it's a deep world. Don't go there unless you have lots of time and love to play around with crap.
Nice.
Oh
Nice.
man, that's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
no, the come on, the technology in music is like just so crazy
Yeah.
right now. I mean,
Like the emulations for vintage synths is just, I mean, there's so many good ones out there. UVI is a company that does a lot of really good emulations of things. Well, in fact, like they do the emulators, from Emu, among other things. But yeah, there's a lot out there.
we when we started, we had like digital 8 tracks and stuff like that. I have this thing called a D88 that I think cost me about $5,000 from Gavin's music store down like there. Completely
What could you sell that for
$5,000
today?
in $5,000 in 1990. Yeah, well, yeah, it was 1996.
That was
So you can imagine, and now
crazy
and that is the
then.
biggest. I can't even use it. Like literally, you could do more like on your phone practically than I can do on. Well, not I don't know about 8 tracks, but you could definitely record like Oh my God!
Back in the days of DAT tapes, and yeah.
It used to be so expensive. I mean, just so I
That's
I
an
don't know how to
antique
say it.
now. So
Yeah.
Well, it's an antique. It's not even. Yeah, I can't even sell it.
I mean, of
Maybe
course,
I'll sell it on.
back then it was like I mean, that was like the equivalent of a high-end studio, affordably. I mean, if you wanted that level of recording technology, you'd have to, you couldn't get it outside of that.
right.
We're bringing it up. That's how we were bringing out to mix, our albums. I brought it over to Gavin's studio, and that's what we were using. I mean, that was the thing. So
That was the heart of it all right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but the advances in musical technology now make it easier than ever for people to take the sounds and stuff they're hearing in their head and put it onto, and it's something that's good quality too. You know what I mean? Like, God, we used to battle with like hiss and crazy frequency buildup, like with some of these things and stuff like that. There was a constant battle of EQing and things and stuff like that. And it's just so much. Over time, we started noticing that goes a little away. Yeah, we probably also know we've learned a lot more over the years, but I think also some of the sounds and technology, they just make it sounds really nice.
Yeah.
And
That used to be a really critical component too back then, was the engineering side. I think a lot less so now, because things have come along technologically where you don't have to know all that stuff. You just kind of throw a plugin in and it just does what it does. But back then it was like, well, okay, we've got a resonant frequency here. How do I find it? How do I tweak it down? How far down do I go? How do I compensate for things? And you just had to know a whole lot more.
Yeah. Good old Tim Blue. I'm gonna throw his name out again, man. He was right.
Sure.
He was great. I mean, the three of us hanging out there, but he really helped us out.
So who else you collaborated with? Destiny? Was it Destiny Beard? Is that
Yep.
one?
Yes. Destiny. We did a couple albums with Destiny. She's like, I was at a gaming convention and she was a fan and her father was an artist, and she said, "Hey, I have taken one of your songs and added vocals over top of it." And she played it for us. And it was the Cage of Solitude song on her Dark Masquerade EP that we did with her. We just thought it was so cool. It's like, yeah, that's none of our albums have like singing or lyrics or anything like that. That's not, but like for a side thing, some people, enjoyed that. And we said this would be very different. And for the people that like that more, I guess we become more like a little bit more new age, Gavin. How would you classify that? Or like, it's almost a little more neoclassical dark wave, a little bit more closer to Dead Can Dance by having a female singer singing.
Yeah, that's a fair parallel, I think.
Yeah. So she brought us that, and we said, let's do it. Let's put. She picked some other songs. She brought her vocals. She recorded her vocals. We mixed it. We put it out. It was well received. So we did a second album with her called A Time Forgotten, and that was awesome. And we did that, and a whole full length album, and now she's still going, releasing her own stuff now. So it's very cool. So yeah, people want to hear Midnight Syndicate music with lyrics and operatic female vocalist over top of it, blended in. Yeah, check out the Destiny Beard stuff. Way cool.
Carnival of Carnage, Midnight Syndicate.
And are you guys fans of haunted attractions? Like going through them?
Yeah. Whenever, I mean, typically, like when we were playing at Cedar Point, we really weren't able to because that was our performance times was the haunt season. But always try to when possible.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean that's it. I just love it. I am, I really love looking at the scenery. I mean,
Yeah.
I really, I don't want to hold up the line or anything like that, but I'm really studying the scenes because that's just what I love. I love looking at details and stuff like that because kind of like I'm like absorbing that atmosphere that they're delivering and trying to like remember that and use that when I don't know, when I'm writing or when I'm creating something like that. I'm pulling from these scenes that I remember in these haunts, some really well crafted scenes. I just like to lose myself in them. Um, and Gavin and I got to act in a haunted house finally in our last
Yeah.
year out at Cedar Point. There was
Yeah.
our show got rained out, and there was a haunt that our favorite haunt. It was called Erie Estates. It's like a haunted house, ghost. Yeah, right. It's like a ghost haunted house. It's our favorite. So they had a piano, a grand
Yeah.
piano.
Or Baby Grand in there.
Yep. And Gavin sat down there and started playing some stuff, and I
It was
leered at people and pointed at them, and then we rotated, and I played a little bit of
It was like a
piano.
bucket list item. I mean, for me at least, I'm like, I always wanted to do that, but again, you never want to, like I wasn't able to make the commitment to doing a whole season of, haunt acting. And I know it's a super hard job. I mean, it's very taxing, but yeah, it was like our little foray into doing a little of that, which was cool.
It was good. It was cool that we got to do that.
The so what scare? I know you probably don't get scared in a haunted house, but what really sets the mood for you in a haunted house? I know you like looking at the scene, so something very well detailed.
Yeah.
But you go
Yeah.
through like,
Like
go
the
ahead.
first time that I went down to HHN, yeah, like Ed said, you don't want to hold up the line and they kind of want the line to move along because it's so insanely popular and stuff. There's a ton of people going through that, but yeah, that was like overwhelming. Like, oh, look at that. Oh, but oh, well, I mean, they build these whole like outdoor scenes inside, complete with like smells and you've got atmospheric effects, and it's just like you could so easily lose yourself in that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, definitely, nothing will pull me into an environment in a haunt faster than that. Like just well done scenes, attention to details, another thing. Like having the books on the bookshelves and like dust on the gramophone or whatever.
I love a good actor that that knows how to stare you down and like create and just be there and like doesn't even really do anything, but just sitting in the
Just
corner
builds the
looking at you.
tension.
That's what
Yep.
I love because I'm all then that becomes part of the scene that pulls me in even further. That and kids. Whenever you see the little kids, you get the actress
Kids.
that looks like she's like a real little kid, the creepy with it. That always I'm like, well done.
Yeah,
Okay,
that freaks me out too.
yeah, always has, I guess.
So you ever go through make notes like, man, this scene is missing a hell of a soundtrack. They're missing out a perfect opportunity.
There's so many. It's so hard to like to tell. What
Yeah, it's so
I've seen so
personal.
many different things, so many different approaches to sound and music and haunts and stuff like that. And a lot of it works. And there's a lot of different directions that you can go in. I still feel like that you should go that every haunt owner should just be led, get out of the car, have one of trusted on a busy night, have one of your trusted workers lead you through your haunt from the time you get out of your car to the time you go through your haunt and just listen. What are they hearing? What can you do? What do I mean, like what sounds are coming in from, the surrounding area that can or can't be disguised? Is that pulling you in or is it adding to the effect? When I'm in through, what am I hearing? Because it's like, but I think you just need to kind of close your eyes literally and just tune out all the visuals and just listen to what's happening for the average guest from the time they leave their car to the time they go back to their car. And are you keeping a nice consistent atmosphere? I think that's the kind of stuff that can take your haunt and all the visuals and all the actors and all the stuff that you're working so hard to the next level. Just being really aware of that and all
Yes,
the sounds.
I agree. And always try to conceal your speakers, and if you have sound effects, try to make them come from where the sound's supposed to be coming from.
Yep.
It just doesn't it jives. It's like there's not it doesn't jump. Like
Right.
sometimes when we're listening to a mix on something and something pops, we say, oh, it's popping there or something like that. It just means I got taken out of your song at that point in time, or I got taken out of the mix at that point because it popped. It jarred me. Same thing with just not having the sound effect come from the general region that you're there. It's so easy if you can just get it to there, then
Yeah, like it makes
nothing.
sense to your brain. Your brain goes, "Oh, that's real," or it could be real.
If you're putting the
Yeah.
time into making a sound effect that you want them to hear, you might as well take the extra step and make sure that it actually furthers what you're going for instead of being a possible distraction or something that says like, takes them out of that moment.
Right. If you're putting it together yourself, make sure your edits are clean and you don't have any, like you said, clicking or looping, bad loops or
Cuts,
or
that's the big thing.
spots or
I really think like cuts, hard audio cuts are that's something that, especially with today's technology, they're just not that you can get out. You don't have to fade things out, fade things in, unless it's a really hard start. And then, do you really want a hard start on anything? Shouldn't it just fade in and create a nice blanket like that just kind of stays at a certain level? Yeah, I think so. So you just want to be careful, and you just want to be careful about things cutting out too early or cutting out abruptly, because that really does the opposite of what you're going for. Then that really takes them out of the moment, and they're like, I just heard a clip. Like it really just takes all that time that you put into that music gets erased because they're like, oh, I forgot somebody's playing this on a CD player in the back, or somebody's playing this on a speaker. It's not real. It's not part of this universe. There's just a little record play, there's just an audio source that just cut out. So I don't know.
yeah,
Unless it's what you're going for.
gotta keep them immersed.
Yep.
Just
Right.
like an actor breaking character. It's like, oh man, you ruined it.
Yeah.
Or when the lights go out in your haunt by mistake because the breaker blew or something, you're like, oh. Let's
So that
start
could
over,
be cool.
guys. Come
or
on,
the
everyone
lights
go
go
back to the
on
front.
in
Go
your
back to the
haunt
front.
because somebody leaned against the switch
Yeah,
on the wall.
yes.
Yeah,
I've seen
absolutely.
that
Turned
more.
house
I've seen
lights
that
on.
more often than
Yeah.
the
That's
lights
rough.
going off, and then you're like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Damn
We
house
arrived
lights.
we opened up one night and half the haunt didn't have lights, and we're like, man, we got like 15 minutes to figure this out. And my brother traced it all the way back to a mouse that chewed part of a coax or part
Damn
of a
nice.
12-volt wire.
Wow.
Yeah, but he found it, and it was like just kind of a process of elimination. Okay, it's not this room. Okay, let's go back. Not the speakers. So
Good for him.
he found it. I was like, damn, dude.
Nice
So we were-
detective skills.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
What they say about sound, you don't really realize it's there until it's gone, and then you're like, something's missing.
Yeah, I say this, and I know there are some haunts, and especially like cornfields and stuff like that, where they play with the idea of having no music, and it can be effective if you have complete control over what they're going to hear. If you have no music whatsoever, are you getting any leakage from like other things coming in that kind
Like
of
a
take
highway
away from
or
a highway or just anything, or people coming in through with their cars or something like that. It's like I've seen it done effectively. It's just, and it's a choice, and it sometimes works really, really, really well. But you just have to, again, I would say if you're in a cornfield doing that, even more so to do the test of walking from your car through the haunt and back out. And actually, what are you really hearing?
Yeah.
What is your guest really hearing? That sometimes when everything times up perfectly, it's amazing. But what on a busy day is the guest actually hearing as they walk through your entire haunt if you aren't using any music? What sounds are coming to the top? Are they hearing screams, or are they hearing something else that not screams, or you get what I'm-
Obviously, it's going to be the sounds of the animatronics and the air compressors.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
everybody hears.
Sometimes
I
do, and that's
You know,
like
I did hear that done really effectively once. It was Saratoga Scaregrounds up in upstate New York. They had no music, no sound, but they took you in small groups. And it was all actors. They did not have any animatronics, at least not that I remembered. And it was sparse enough inside as far as like where the actors were that you never knew what was going to come from where. Like you had no cues at all. And I thought it was really well done, but that was the only one that I can say I've been through personally that I enjoyed with, no music or anything like that.
Yeah, I've always been a stickler for sound effects and ambient sounds. That's the
It
first
kinda-
thing. It's like we have to have music in here, sounds in here.
I feel like it kind of transports them into like the world of a
Yeah.
movie. Like it brings you into this like fantasy world that you're that you're trying to create with everything else you're doing. The music just elevates. It's just like a film. Like we all know how important music is in film. I think it's no different when you're trying to paint a scene. You know, it's a, just, I think it's an important thing. And the choice not to is an important choice too. If you don't want to do that, but you just have to be aware with the risks involved with doing that.
Yeah. The one drawback is you can't have that incidental music in every room that is triggered just exactly in time, right? You know, because that would be perfect if you could choreograph all of the audio like a movie, you know, and suddenly it gets quiet. So you know somebody's going to be popping out, right? But then you get that other music.
The build up.
There is the technology to do it. You can
Right.
trigger an MP3 player on a bunch of different prop controllers, but man, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Yeah, exactly.
Often is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Damon Carson said that he would like to see you in Cedar Point. Always loved Midnight Syndicate. And who does the artwork on the covers?
That Pascal Casellari. He's a French artist, and he's so good. He just gets us. Like when we looked for Darkened Corners, that image, you're just like, yeah. I mean, it's like first time with him. First, second time, it's like boom, done. You know what I mean? He gets us so much, and it's we just love his style. He did Christmas. We can't wait to share you what he did with the new album, the next one for next year. We bounced from different artists and worked with different companies and like licensing artwork and doing all that over the years for lots of but boy, Pascal's really got it. It's been just such a delight to work with him.
Robert Hill says he's been already using your music in the Haunt this year. I'm going to register right now.
Hey, thanks.
After this awesome podcast. So
hey, we appreciate
thanks, Robert.
And we appreciate you guys having us on.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the first times we've done anything like this, just like hanging out and chit-chatting about stuff.
It's always good to see you guys.
Want to mention to everybody that's on Facebook and watching us on Zoom, if you got any more questions for Edward and Gavin, please let us know. I think we've got to almost all of yours, with the exception of, you guys ever played Jingle Bells in minor keys?
Ding, 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 ding.
Played around with it actually.
Yeah, it is. If you listen to Christmas Overture, yes, it just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Overture is the first song on Christmas: A Ghostly Gathering, and that's one of my tracks. I took a bunch of those songs, just little dashes of them, and put them together. The rest of the album is full tracks, like God Rest You Merry Gentlemen, Coventry Carol. You know, we do the whole song. But that Christmas Overture you could play a game with yourself and see how many Christmas carols detuned you can identify in there. And I actually think the very first thing you hear, yes, the very first thing that you hear when you listen to that song is Jingle Bells, but just a little bit of it. But yeah.
That was one of the things we wanted to be careful with that too, is we didn't want it to be like so expected. It's like we wanted to kind of take it in a direction that you might not expect, you know, whether that was arrangements or song choices and stuff. So it's like, okay, you know, we know everybody's going in expecting everything's in a minor key and it's all going to be like pipe organs, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to kind of subvert your expectations a little bit wherever we can, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's so much to draw from in Christmas, and I know we see it with all the Krampus and the Christmas haunts that are coming out. It's all about ghost stories and stuff like that. And the more we dug into the traditions of Christmas around the world, which were used for inspiration and to get songs to do, we find all these amazing stories that are often really super dark.
Yeah,
like the Icelandic one where it's the ogres and they at Christmas time you got to watch because her kids come and eat your kids or take them away and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot of that. It's scaring your kids into behaving because at Christmas time, they're coming down the chimney. They're gonna friggin' take you away and eat you.
And then there's the Icelandic Christmas cat that if you get new clothes, you must wear them, otherwise the cat will eat you.
Love it. All the Norse, the whole Danes and the Swedes and the North. The Finns. There's all stories throughout that region that are the best, I think.
Well,
and Krampus, of course.
Yeah.
But
So without giving anything specific away, unless you want to, what's in the future for Midnight Syndicate? What's coming up? What's in the pipeline?
Well, I think the big thing is the next full-length album. That's
Yeah.
probably the next big thing that we're setting our sights on and everything. But
Yeah, and I mean, and we're trying to keep the theme like under wraps, I guess, right now. Make it a big like reveal
That's
because
fine.
people have
That's
been
fine.
asking for so much. We're like, okay, we'll take and right now, honestly, we're really focused a little bit on getting Darkened Corners out there. Just want people to know about it so they can check it out. I think that people, especially people that follow us for a little while, will really get a kick out of these songs. And maybe even have been waiting for us to release some of these songs. And if you're not familiar with us, I still think there's some songs on there that are so like the first one you played, that Mr. Midnight theme. That's so typical of our style. And check out that Spotify playlist that Halloween. It's on YouTube as well under our if you want a really nice overview of 28 years of our music all mixed together and stuff like that. But I think the new album is definitely the focus right now. We need to get that out. It's been too long. Brimstone Club was the last one. That's 2023. So we really want
Is
to
it still in the books for this year? Is it going to be January, or when is this
the next album?
Yeah.
The next album will be next year. Probably
Okay.
mid, not too late. Not too late next year.
middle of the year, maybe. Yeah.
Middle of the year is our plan. Yep.
Where's the best place to buy Darkened Corners and anything
Oh,
else?
thanks for asking, Brian. Like midnightsyndicate.com. Obviously, if you go to the Midnight Syndicate, you will see a link. You'll see right on the front page, you'll see the thing for Darkened Corners. You click on it, and it will give you a complete list of everywhere you could stream it or buy it. Whatever music service you like to use. And then when you're on the Midnight Syndicate website, bounce around. You can see the different albums that we have there. Of course, we still sell CDs. Is nice. We have some pretty cool packaging for Darkened Corners. Gavin wrote some really cool introductions for all the tracks that when you read those intros and you listen to the song, just takes that to the next level. And we can do that with packaging where you can't do that with digital downloads. So there's some cool stuff that we always add in the physical media. And physical media always helps out artists now more than ever. So
Yeah.
anybody that wants to support.
And do you guys have merch?
Yes, thank you, sir. And we do. That's also on I think the Midnight Syndicate website will take you. There's a shop there. And you can, if you don't like, we also have a Shopify site store, which is right there, and you can choose whatever you like. And yeah, we have merch. We got pins that we added last year, and then t-shirts and hoodies. Hoodies are the most popular item we've ever put out. We have Midnight Syndicate glow in the dark hoodies.
I did not buy a hoodie from you guys at Transworld because I think this is my 12th year at the Haunt. So I think I've got 14 hoodies, 16 shirts. I did buy some of the cork coasters and I use them every day. I got one on my nightstand, one on my downstairs desk. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Are all your t-shirts and hoodies black?
Almost.
That's my
I'm one of the
my
freaks that actually wears other colors.
Nice.
I've got a gray hoodie. Our haunt is called Deadmonton. We have a Camp Deadmonton, so I've kind of got an army green one and a yellow one. I listened to a podcast, Creature Geeks, and it's a lime green. As you know, the other business we're involved in, our colors are black and lime green, so I've got a bit of lime green as well.
Yes, I love lime green. I absolutely love. We have a lime. You'll see lime green. I think you just saw it there.
Yeah, it was one of that.
Look at this, Brian. I love it, man. You're going through.
I got the pins.
This is fantastic. Yes, but where's my lime? There we go. The shot glass. Yeah. I don't know. I just love that color for some reason, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's pretty
fantastic.
Sharp.
And yeah. So yeah. No, we certainly, I appreciate everybody that picks up, and certainly streaming, sharing the information, about what we're doing and stuff like that. We appreciate it. And of course we'll be back at Transworld again this, next year with copies of stuff, business. I love it. I'm watching you go through our website and everything like that. I'm like, all right.
Well, let us know if you, I get your email so I know when a new one's coming out because I stay on top of that. So
absolutely, yes. Well, we thank you both for having us on.
Yeah, thanks so much.
This was great, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And a special thanks to all of the folks that asked questions, especially ones that you've never had asked before. So,
Yeah, no, thanks for all the questions. They were all good. They were all really good. And yeah, there were a couple that we hadn't been asked before, which is always fun. And a challenge. Even though we don't know.
Now our listeners are going to have to go back to the books and come up with some new questions for the next time we
That's
have
right.
you guys on.
Nice. Sounds like a plan.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. You have a fine evening. And guys, go out there and support Midnight Syndicate. Listen to it on Spotify. Of course, support them and go buy some merch or some CDs or MP3s or whatever. And have a spooky, haunted season with Midnight Syndicate. Yeah.
Yep. October is here. It's that season.
It is. Tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
You
Have a
too.
good
Good seeing
evening.
you, Edward. Good
Thanks so
seeing you,
much.
Gavin.
Good seeing you guys.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast episode sponsored by Scarlet Badges. Get your Scarlet Badges at scarebadges.com. Also sponsored by Hunter's Toolbox. Take your haunt to the next level at haunterstoolbox.com. Thank you for listening to Haunt Topic Radio. Please leave a comment wherever you found this podcast. Each comment you leave will help spread the word to other haunters around the world. See you next time.